Hello everybody, how's it going? I'm back. I'm working on something new today. Oh, and I totally forgot to update my current project. Hold on a second, let me fix this. There we go, there's Hanji instead of Celica up there. Yay! So, yeah, I mentioned on Twitter, and I think I updated my info on here, that we're making an Attack on Titan harness today, which involves cutting a ton of straps. And if you guys have been following my other social media, you probably know that I am, like, super hyped on Attack on Titan right now, and it's all I want to talk about. So, hopefully you guys can put up with that. And if so, if you're also an Attack on Titan fan, then you came to the right place today. But basically, I have this whole hide. This is all a giant chunk of leather. In fact, it's so large that I'm kind of having trouble cutting it, but I'm gonna do my best and just kind of work through it. I have my handy dandy strap cutter here, which is going to make cutting these straps really, really easily. So the first thing that I did before getting started today was I had cut a perfectly straight edge along one of the edges of this leather, and just using a long ruler or like a yardstick or whatever you need. And then from there, you can adjust the strap cutter to cut whatever size straps you need. It's got like 4 inches of measured area here where you can move this bar across, and then whatever the distance is between this razor blade right here and the side of this handle is the width of the straps that it'll cut. So these straps are like barely under 1 inch, and that's so that they fit perfectly into the 1-inch buckles. And yeah, I'm just gonna get started cutting a ton of straps. So I'm actually making 2 harnesses. It says that I'm making a harness, but I'm making 2 because what's the point of having one awesome uniform costume if no one else matches you? So I'm going to make 2 that match so that I have one jacket, eventually one jacket, and one set of the harness straps that match each other, so that I can have like wonderful photo shoots with my friends. Emily the Bumblebee, thank you for following. And Ryder DH, who followed right before the stream started. Alright. Yeah, I have been binge watching Attack on Titan lately, and I think I'm gonna like start over and watch the whole thing again. But anyway, now I'm gonna struggle to cut this on camera and see how well I do. So this might need like the use of my little shears to get started, because this leather is like so bendy, for lack of a better term. Where is that hitting exactly? Okay. So I'm just gonna use my shears to like make a slit right at the top. Lord Zeph 696969, thanks for the follow. Alright. So I'm just trying to feed this in where I like pre-cut it just a little bit, which I didn't like measure perfectly, but I did use the start of this to kind of mark it. So you always have to cut the ends off anyway, so it'll be fine. Alright, and so all I have to do now after getting it started, the hard part is just pulling it down along this straight edge, and then it creates a perfect parallel cut. Now the problem is that this giant chunk of leather like extends down off my table and like reaches the floor pretty much. Tex-Mex Exorcist, thanks for the follow, and thanks for the 100 bits. Yeah, Chingo. It's exciting. Anyway, I've wanted to make an actual leather harness from the show pretty much since I became a fan, and that was before I knew anything about leatherwork, so now it's like I'm revisiting it years later, like, oh wow, I already have these skills that I used to dream about doing. So I'm just gonna continue like cutting this off camera because this leather is so huge, so I don't know any other way to do it. So sorry, let me just duck down here behind the table. I'm gonna try to like keep most of the weight on the table if I can. Alright. Goodbye, guys. See you in a minute. Alright, we're back. I lost a little bit of the width at the very end, so I'm just going to chop that off so I don't accidentally use that section. And here is one complete strap cut on our strap cutter, and there's going to be a lot more where that came from. I'm pretty much just going to shred this whole piece. I don't really know exactly how much I need, but I have like a store-bought harness that is sort of okay, quality-wise, that I'm going to be using that pretty much as a pattern. Kitten is asking if I'm doing the whole piece of leather. This is like really weird thin leather, and I've already had it for like a couple of years because it's so thin that I end up not ever wanting to use it for anything else. But I think it's perfect for these straps because it's like nice and bendy, and it's like thin. It's strong and durable still. It's not going anywhere, but this is kind of the perfect application, especially with all the like little buckles and stuff I have to put it through. So with that in mind, I feel like if this whole hide just turned into straps, I would be fine with that. Hey, Link fan. Alright. How are we doing? Once again, it's really hard to get the very, very start of it going. So I will just clip and then feed it through. Oh, hello! Hello, Melman. I see you in the chat now. Thank you so much. Also, thank you, Judge Sims. That's a good point, too. Let's see. Alright, I'm just gonna be throwing myself across the table to get this one done then. Oh, you know what? My ring is like dragging across this leather, so I'm taking that off. Oh, Link fan, thank you for the donation. Always appreciated. Yeah, I'm just gonna probably try to keep it on the table like this, even if I have to go in small sections of just cutting. It's actually easier to do up here anyway. Alright, how's it going over here? Skellage Blades is asking where I got the cutter from. That is a Tandy purchase. I'm sure that other stores would have them too that are like leather craft stores, but Tandy has all the, almost everything I have comes from Tandy. Hello. Jared is just off camera trolling me. Ty is really gay. Thank you for following. Link fan, it's not sad if you're not a fan of Attack on Titan. That's totally valid. It's really not for everyone, but it is for me. Let me tell you that. This is the content that I like. This is what I'm here for. Is my Attack on Titan. Mostly the veterans. I actually care way more about all of the veteran characters than I do about any of the actual like main cast. Oh, this one actually might start going. Okay. Nice. I don't have to use my shear trick this time. Although they are a little bit wobbly up at the top. That's fine. These straps are just so long. My method here is that I kind of want to just prepare as many straps as I possibly can, and then like have long pieces, dye them first, do the edges all first, and then start assembling the harness itself once they're already dyed, so that way I only have to cut them to length and assemble them. That way I don't have to like cut them all first and then label them and remember which piece is which and then dye them and then risk using the wrong piece and running out of leather. I think it's just going to be easier if they're all dyed, like long straps ready to go. Name is Bobo. Thank you for following as well. YouTuber is asking if I'm using some of the straps that I cut with Anna. I cut like one extra strap when Anna was over here. He's referring to a previous stream. I cut one strap and then I decided that I wanted them to actually be like just barely wider than that. So I'm not using that one strap, but it's fine. It's actually really nice to have some straps like pre-cut and ready to go so that I can like if I'm working on a quick project in the future, I can just grab a strap from my stash that's already like got extra pieces and then just use whatever exists in there. So there's a lot of opportunities to reuse just like strips of leather because you can always use them to like strap your armor on or whatever. So I'm just gonna collect a pile of these guys. Let me check back in on the chat. So Aaron Thur and Joel B and Dark Energy Designs, thank you all for following and joining us here today. I made my like text chat really big, which I thought would help me read comments easier, but as it turns out, there's just not enough on the page and then I'm having to scroll a lot. Okay, I think I fixed it. MX Snowflake is asking, how wide am I making the straps? They are just barely under 1 inch. They're like 7/8 of an inch. Yeah, this is actually like also very, very slightly wider than this like the pre-made straps that I bought, or like the pre-made harness. I like bought a generic harness off of Amazon, and it was fine, but it was made out of kind of sketchy leather. It was made out of like really cheap, over-processed mystery leather that had like canvas in the center. It was like layers that were laminated of like leather on the outside. It was actually genuine leather, but it was like really crappy and weird. And so I was worried that maybe it had been unethically harvested. And so with that in mind, I didn't want to keep wearing that harness. I wanted something more, something that I felt more confident in. And so it was a good excuse to make these anyway. And having that harness, like that store-bought harness to use as a pattern is also really, really nice because it helps me, like it helped me figure out a lot of the rigging issues that you would otherwise have if you're just trying to make your own and come up with your own plan for how all the straps like fit together, because they're really, really complicated. This takes me a long time to put on. They're like almost, though they are completely unnecessarily complicated, but they look cool. Yeah, Potion Seller, it was not cowhide. Leather comes from any animal. Any animal can be turned into leather. I'll just say it that way. And when you're buying really, really cheap stuff that was made in a sweatshop in China, like, that's just, it's really sketchy. Not only do I not want to support, like, those practices of fast fashion and, like, the horrible, like, work conditions that those people are in. Anyway, whatever. I felt really guilty about buying this, like, cheap stuff to begin with because of all of those reasons, more so than I didn't want to wear a cheap costume. So this is cowhide. It's a thinner cowhide. This is like a 3 to 4 ounce leather. And for whatever reason, it's like extra floppy, technical term, compared to other hides that I've bought that are of similar weight. Like, I've bought hides that are this same thickness, but they're much stiffer and they're much more like structured when you cut them down into smaller pieces. So I thought this was a good application for this leather because, like, I've had this hide sitting around for years and not had anything to use it for because it was too thin and floppy. It's like weird flaccid leather. But it'll make a good harness. I think this will be comfortable to wear too. Alright, have fun playing Final Fantasy. I guess 13, Link fan. If you can, have fun. Have fun with that one. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, Jadale is here! Nice to see you. My leather strap pile. Oh, I have more over here. You can let them be in the corner so that you can see how many I've cut, which is a lot, but still not enough. I need 2 whole harnesses, so, you know, that's a lot of straps. That was not a good cut. I need to cut a little bit farther, straighter. So once again, I am using my shears to get it started, and then I'll just have to end up wasting that very end, but that's not a big deal. So this project is for Anime Expo. I've been prioritizing smaller deadlines, closer deadlines, and making like kind of a couple quick projects if you guys have been following along some previous streams. So, yeah, like I'm gonna keep working on Celica eventually, but I had an idea that I might end up doing that one for TwitchCon because, you know, I made that whole costume on Twitch, and that would be kind of a perfect time to debut it. And plus, with Celica being literally solid leather, and all of my events for the rest of the summer being like really crowded, hot, just like horribly sweaty events, I didn't really want to try to bring Celica to like Anime Expo or Dragon Con. That just sounds like a super uncomfortable time. So with that in mind, I think that Celica is going to get pushed back a little bit on my schedule of things, and that's why I want to prioritize doing stuff like this that I can get done more quickly for the upcoming events. So just like a progress report for where we are with Celica. I promise I'm not setting that costume aside in any kind of permanent way, but I wanted to give myself the freedom to work on other things and not just be like trapped in my promise to finish that one next, I guess. So thanks for those of you who have stuck around and like watched all the Celica progress. I don't want to let you guys down if you guys are interested in what's going on there. Ty is really gay is asking, holy crap, do you really need that many straps? Yeah. Well, I'm making 2 harnesses and I want to have extra, so I want to make sure that I cut enough in one go that I don't have to go back to cutting. So we'll see. We'll see, but I might have a bunch of extra. Tex-Mex Exorcist. Okay, there's no... That makes more sense. Is talking about donations. Don't ever feel pressure to donate. Like, this stream is for everyone, so, you know, those of you who can donate, that's very kind of you, and obviously it's appreciated, but that's never an expectation. And so don't feel, like, obligated to do that to enjoy this. Like, that's... Don't make it like that. Yitsubara says that they've never been to Attack on Titan, but they just like that the harness makes everyone's butt look super good. I am 100% on board with you there. I mean, I also really like the show, but I really like everyone's butts in the, in the costume. Hey, it's Shards asking if I'm going to make a write-up. I don't know about write-up. Maybe. Maybe, since I'm going to have all this footage. We'll see about that one. Okay, several people asking why am I making 2 harnesses. I'm making 2 harnesses because here's my reasoning. The Attack on Titan costume in general, it's a uniform. Almost everyone wears the exact same thing with the exception of like different shirts, different hairstyles, and then there are like different divisions of the military that have different patches. So with that in mind, everyone in your group, not that you have to look the same, because obviously, you know, I took a bunch of photos with my friends at Acon, and we all looked a little bit different, because our, you know, people use different fabric for the jackets, or they have different colors of leather, or just like little variations like that. That's fine, that's gonna happen, especially in like any sort of larger groups that you're like bringing people together. And I'm not saying that that's like not okay, and that, you know, that whatever. What I am saying is that I'm putting a ton of effort into making something that's as nice as I possibly can, and I don't want to, well, it's not that I want to be able to do photos with other people, specific people, and have both of us match. So like, I have a friend who's a Levi cosplayer that I want to do photo shoots with him. I have another friend who wants to cosplay Emir and Krista with me. I have another friend who wants to cosplay Annie and Mikasa. So like, for all of those reasons, I have like all these duos planned, and I'm like, well, we should probably have matching jackets, and we should probably have matching straps. So for that reason, I am making 2 of these things. So that I can put them on, so I can put it on my friends, and then we can like take photos together where we really look like we are the same in that photo. So that's more for like planned photo shoots than it is for like general groups, which are obviously open to everyone and should be, you know, regardless of what your costume is made out of or how it's made or what colors you used or whatever. I'm not trying to like be selective or elitist in that way. I want to have the opportunity to do like smaller scale photo shoots and have it like actually match. So that's the goal. Pasta Please says the Attack on Titan characters use their booty muscles to maneuver in the air. That's true, I'm sure. It's science. Weaponized military booty, that's so good. Yeah, and then my friends' butts can look nice. Got it, says Jadale. Yeah. Also, my other motivation for this is that I'm totally gonna make Jared dress up with me. So, like, the first person to wear all of this stuff with me is gonna be Jared, because he's such a good sport, and he's my model for so many different costume things. So, I guess I'll just announce it here on stream. I was gonna, like, make that a surprise for everyone else, but since you guys are actually here for the stream, you get to know that it's totally gonna be on Jared. Jared is going to be cosplaying with me at Anime Expo, I'm pretty sure. Judge Sim's asking who's Jared gonna be. You know what? Before I say who Jared's gonna be, I'm open to guesses. So if anybody has guesses for who Jared should be to accompany my Hanji cosplay, let me know what you think. or who you would like to see Jared as. I will give you the correct answer in just a few minutes, but I'm curious to see what people think. Calum3 is asking, am I going to make the jacket too? Yes, although it's possible that I won't be ready for Anime Expo. You know, and if I'm not, then whatever. I'm trying to just keep it like non-committal. I'm going to work as hard as I can to get them done, but I'm going to prioritize the harnesses first. So I'll make the harnesses. These will definitely be ready for AX. And then if I can have jackets, then we'll have jackets. And if I don't get the jackets done until later, then we'll get, you know, then I'll wear them later. But yeah, we're wearing these to Anime Expo regardless. Okay, let's see. Biffles, thank you for the follow. And now let me check out. People are guessing Colossal Titan, Levi, Jared as Potato. Colossal Titan bodysuit? No. Sorry. No, he's not cosplaying Levi. He's too tall for that. He does have the dead eyes and dead soul of Levi, though. Leather spaghetti. No, he's not going to be Erwin either. I wish he were Erwin. He doesn't have the eyebrows for that. I would get him some prosthetic eyebrows to be Erwin. Alright. So I have just shredded all of these different strips of leather. I've got a ton of them now. Let's count these. I want to kind of pull out my other harness and compare lengths and see what I can expect to get, how much harness I can get out of these leather strips, which I think is going to be a lot. No, he's not going to be Armin. I wish he would be Armin. That would be cute. I like Armin. Jared's like, Armin's a little bitch. I like Armin, though. Alright, I posted about it on Twitter, and I was sort of kidding, but then I was actually not kidding at all, because Jared is totally going as Moblet, which is the most underappreciated character in all of Attack on Titan. And he's Hanji's assistant, who follows Hanji around, screaming at her to not get eaten by Titans. And so I felt like that would be very in character for Jared to run around after me, desperately trying to take care of me while I put myself in dangerous and terrible situations. Is, you know what, that's very, like, that's a wonderful metaphor for a relationship. So yeah, I'm excited for Jared to be Moblet. Moblet did get a little bit of screen time in season 2. I was happy about that. A little bit more screen time, rather. Because you see him with Hanji and following Hanji around. So Aaron Thur says, sounds like his D&D character as well. It totally does. And also on his bingo sheet that we made today, I was like, Jared, you're the responsible friend. You're the one who's like not the mom friend, because obviously he's not a mom, but just in general, like, the responsible friend, the one who's like taking care of everybody else and making sure we don't die. Yeah, that's Jared. Alright, I'm gonna trim off some of the extra stuff. Alright. So laying this out here, I guess I'm gonna do it on the inside. And this isn't going to be an exact measurement. I'm sort of just getting a visual comparison. Once I start, like, after they're dyed and ready to be assembled, I will make a more accurate measurement. That's about that long. Maybe for that piece. So times 2. So I'm going to put it at about there. That's not enough. So I'll do left over there. So I need one whole strip to do the back X. Keep that in mind. I'm gonna take a moment and just concentrate on this, and then I'll be back to check your comments and things like that. Oops, I just missed my trash can. Alright, and then a whole strap again to do these two longish ones in the front. So that's the main sections of the harness, but it doesn't include these little portions. Which any of these smaller straps I feel like are just gonna be made out of scraps of the other pieces. Okay, so that's the majority of this piece, plus smaller pieces. I don't care so much about the smaller pieces. Alright. The other longest pieces in this whole contraption are these guys. And this one is already pretty much measured out to me. I'm gonna try it on one more time. I'm talking about this guy, this like pre-made harness. This is my $20 Amazon harness made out of sketchy leather. But it's okay, you know. As far as like the actual quality of what you get for 20 bucks, I was surprised. It was as good as it was. Okay. Wow, this is gonna take... This is like gonna take 2 whole strips probably. Oh, maybe that could probably get... So 1 whole strip for the leg. Per leg. So there's 1 leg of the longest one, and then a second strap for the other leg. Okay, so that's most of the main section, plus I need 2 smaller thigh belts. This is just a giant tangle over here. I think this is a smaller thigh belt. Yeah. Okay, this is one of the thigh belts. Close a couple inches. Double that. Okay, so that's 1 thigh worth of extra belts. The other thigh. And plus scraps. The scraps are going to be for the smaller pieces around the torso that I didn't just include in all of that measurements. So that'll be like this piece. So potentially up to an additional whole other piece for these smaller strips here, here, here. Yeah. Okay, so out of all of the straps that I just cut, I only have enough for 1 harness. So I need to double the amount that I just cut. It looks like I have so much, but honestly, for me to make sure that I have a surplus of leather and that I have more cut than I will absolutely use, I have 1 extra here. So this entire pile is 1 harness worth, I think. So I'm gonna scroll back and look through the comments that you guys made just now, but those were my like audio notes of me just kind of visually comparing the length of these compared to the length of those and how much I'm gonna end up needing. So, yeah, okay. Pink Thorin is saying that they should start by finding a jacket pattern. Yeah, that's a good place to start. And I found one that's, I just bought it. What is it called? Anathiel, I think is what it's from. If you search Attack on Titan jacket pattern, you'll find it. And it's a European seller because it was printed out on like European paper sizes. So, and it's all in centimeters. So there you go. Skellige Blades is saying these look like Ginger scissors or Ginger shears. I have Ginger shears, but these are not them. These are leather shears specifically, and they are the Craft Tool brand. But yeah, these are some nice heavy duty shears. The chest strap is actually not uncomfortable. If you have everything sized right, then it's really not uncomfortable to watch or to wear at all. Yeah, this is so much. Oh, okay, Judge Sims is heading out. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. How's everything else going? Good. Cool. Alright, let's just count how many straps this is now. Or how many strips go into 1 harness. There's 1, 2, 3, this is 6 and 7. So yeah, this should be 7 whole straps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 7. So this is, I cut 8 of these, and I need to cut 6 more to have 7 on each. And I'm hoping that that's a little bit extra than what I need, because I just kind of combined all of the smaller straps into one strap, whereas realistically I'll be able to use the scraps from the longer straps to make the smaller ones. But it's a ton. Oh, Texan Exorcist is commenting on my Moon Honey shirt. Yeah, I saw this band when they were in Texas, and they're from here in LA, so that's pretty cool. We had some mutual friends that were, yeah, one of my friends knew them, and so that's why we ended up going to their show. It was really good. And this is one of my favorite shirts to wear. Okay, so I just put 7 of my straps aside. I've got 1 more here, and now we will cut 6 more. It's so much. I'm wondering if I need to straighten out my... Because this looks like it's starting to like curve a little bit up here, if you guys can tell. It's really subtle, but the reason it's doing that is because when you remove... The hides aren't completely flat. They're like stretched and then they dry to be as flat as possible, but they have some distortion, especially around the edges. So I think that what has happened is that I've been cutting off of this, and as the material is removed, this sort of expands to lay itself flat, and it's created like a little bit of a curve. So I'm gonna just grab a straight ruler and just slice off that edge as straight as I can. I just scratched my leather a little bit. Yeah, so that's gonna take off a little chunk over here. Alright, there we go. So hopefully get me a little bit of a straighter start. Yeah, Moon Honey is so awesome. You guys should all go listen to that band. Skellage Blades is saying that the leather they bought from Italy will be here in 2 weeks. That is pretty exciting. I think you showed that in one of the previous streams, which one you had gotten. So hopefully that lives up to your dreams. Pink Thorn found that jacket pattern that I was just referring to. Yeah, I just cut it out and assembled it last night. I went ahead and bought that as well. So that's what my jacket is going to be based on. I am going to make a mock-up and do some adjustments and just make sure that it fits me the way that I want it to. But it looked like a good pattern to start with. So, Aviviavai. Aviviavai. I don't know if that's correct. Says, what's going on besides strap cutting? Nothing. We're just cutting straps. So I've decided that I'm going to prepare my straps beforehand, cut them all first, dye them all, do all of the edges, and then start assembling them once they're like already completely colored, so that I can cut them to length at that point and just like streamline the work. So we're just cutting straps, and then we're going to dye them. Keep working on other parts of the costume as well. Skellage Blades heading out. Have a good evening. Kitten is asking, what am I going to do about the holes at the bottom? You mean like the holes at the bottom of this hide? I just won't use that area. I'll cut an extra strap if I have to. I think I'll probably cut an extra one anyway. So I'll just use all the usable areas. I'm not too worried about the little imperfections. I can just avoid that. Sonica, all of my tools today have come from Tandy Leather, including the little strap cutter and the leather itself. If anybody has Attack on Titan fan theories, you can throw them up in the chat. I don't want to get into a lot of spoilers though for season 2 because not everyone is finished. They have tandies in a lot of different parts of the world, actually. They're not everywhere, but there are a lot of different places. Avivia Vi. I'm sorry. I'm probably not gonna ever get that one right. Saying that they don't know if they have a tandy by them. You should look it up, you might. Redbard saying that the more recent things that have happened in Attack on Titan sound like they could have been fan theories. Yeah, it's really kind of gotten a little bit crazy. I still have faith in seeing where, it might end up going, but it's definitely a very different type of show or different type of story than you were originally led to believe, I guess. I'm not 100% caught up on the manga, but I have been, I follow so many blogs that are, just so full of spoilers that I feel like I've gotten almost all the spoilers at this point. So I am not, well, I'd rather not talk about just straight up spoilers here in the chat, because people, obviously not everyone has been caught up or wants to be spoiled, but, I'm pretty much at the point of okay, well, whatever happens is fine. Mew Mizu, thank you for following. Welcome to our stream today. This one has a weird, ugly chunk here. Was anybody counting how many straps I've already cut? Oops. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna get 8 this time. Yeah, there's 7 sitting over there, and then I want to have 8 into this next batch so that I have a little bit of extra guaranteed. But I'll still have more leather if I end up deciding to that I need to make more or something. I can do that. just a pain in the ass to feed through at the start. This leather is so soft. That's okay. App SSB, thanks for following. Well, I'm glad that you find this motivating. So Aaron, Obsidance says that they're just lurking, but they're enjoying the leather cutting sounds, and that it's the same as when crafting in Final Fantasy XIV. Well, I'm glad they got the sound design right for their leather craft.
I take it that was your home? I must ask you to stay calm. Your village is gone. A great chasm opened in the earth, and all of Narende was swallowed up in darkness.
Piano Sammy, hello, thanks for coming by and joining us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 more. Watch me still forget that. Eternal Astra is back. Potion Seller is saying that it would be hilarious if the show never shows us what's in Aaron's basement. It's a little sadistic. I will say this, that is not what happens. Yeah, my ends are getting not cute because I'm having these like rough starts to my cut, but that's okay. As long as they're consistent during all the way down the main part of the strap. Naruto's in the basement? Hey now, no spoilers. I'm gonna do one more cleanup cut over here so that I'm not continuing to mess things up. Oops. This is my favorite song on the full playlist. I'm trying to keep them a little bit neater now. We'll see how this goes. These edges are just so thin, it's a pain in the ass to get started. GCDX, thanks for the follow. Tex-Mexorcist is heading out. Well, your appearance here in the stream today has made me crave Tex-Mex, so thanks for stopping by. Alright, I think I'm on my last one. I think I have one more to cut. I'm gonna check, I'm gonna count, and then we'll do that. Oh, Penguin Cosplay says they were rewatching my Wix stream. Well, I'm glad that it was helpful for you. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So yeah, I need one more. One last strap, and then I can finally stop. I can finally do something else besides just keep cutting straps. I think I'm breathing leather dust. Oh, Red Bart, I'm glad that you think my wig tutorials are helpful. I'm not like a wig expert or anything. I know a lot of people who are way better at wigs than me. So that's why I feel like I always have to like qualify any of my wig info with like that sort of disclaimer. But you know, I'm okay. I at least get wigs that are decent enough for myself, my own standards. Thank you for all the bless yous. Alright, this is last strap hype. We're almost there. The end is in sight. Oh, my entire top now is just completely covered in dust. That's okay. Potion Seller, thank you for the kind words about my Samus wig. That wig was given to me by a friend who just had it. And when I originally started working on Samus, I was like, oh, well, you know, this one is so close, but it's a little bit dark. And then ultimately, when the costume was done and it was on, I felt like going slightly darker was a good choice because it looked a little bit more natural. Quico Destal, hello, welcome. Last strap hype, you just made it to the end of my strap cutting extravaganza, and that we are now done, and I'm going to go ahead and roll this up and get it out of the way once and for all. Yeah, a lot of Samus cosplayers do hers as like a super bright yellow blonde, and honestly, like, that does match the reference image, like, they're not wrong. But I felt like if you can nail a sense of like naturalism, it really helps the costume, in my opinion. So even though it was like technically not as bright as it could have or maybe should have been, I thought it ended up being just about perfect for what I wanted. So. See, this leather is like so thin and so like bendable that it just rolls right up, and that's so much smaller than it was earlier, now that we have our giant pile of straps. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move this to my closet so that it's just out of the way immediately. I'm gonna go take my tube of leather and put it away, and then I'll be back and we'll start laying out some paper for dyeing. Koika is asking, am I painting the leather? I'm gonna dye the leather, so it'll have like, the dye is the color that seeps into the surface of the leather. So it'll have this still like the natural qualities and the textures of the leather itself. Compared to a paint, they would just make it all opaque color. That's a big pile of straps. I'll show you guys in just a second. I'm gonna like dust some things off. Like this whole laptop is just covered in leather dust right now. Alright. Nate is great, has followed. Thank you so much for following. Alright. So this is just heavy duty paper. I'm using this instead of plastic because I'm going to end up going through a lot of it and it's biodegradable and better. I'm going to grab some scissors because I don't have my paper cutting scissors within reach for some reason, so I'll be right back. So my straps are longer than this paper. I think I'm going to actually cut 2 pieces, and that way just the whole table will be covered. What's the length on this? Probably can't see what the benefit of adding that second paper was, but now the rest of my table that is not on camera is all covered, and so I can just go ahead and like move the straps along. And yes, now for our giant pile. Here we go. This is 2 harnesses worth of shredded leather, and I'm gonna take a photo of this because of course I am. This is going on Instagram. Alright, there we go. Just a ton of shredded leather. So I'm gonna lay these out and just do as many as I can. And they're gonna end up hanging off the edge of the table. That's just how it's gonna be. They are way too long. People, Nate's Great is asking for anime recommendations in the chat. So if anybody has suggestions for Nate, go ahead and throw them in there. The other thing that I did to prepare this leather is that I used a solution of like lemon water on it because I've had it for so long and I'm pretty sure that like smaller pieces of the same hide that I've used have not absorbed the dye super well, and so I wanted to see if maybe cleaning the surface would help at all. So many straps. So I'm gonna like paint all of the visible area on these straps and then pull on them and then like continue working with them, with the rest of them. And we'll see how that goes. And Kona says that they love Hanji. Yeah, Hanji's my favorite, man. I love Hanji more than like every other character in the show combined. So on some of my previous streams, you've seen that I have like done beveled edges on leather pieces. And I'm gonna do beveled edges on certain parts of the harness, but not the actual straps themselves. Like some of the weird little attachments and other pieces will end up with like the nicely beveled finished edges, but these are gonna get a different style of edge finishing that I haven't actually done before, but I'm feeling pretty good about. So we can experiment with that together. Franny B is asking, would a pig skin or goat skin be suitable for a soft sole shoe? I think they would be too soft. I think they'd be too thin. Like, I mean, you're talking about like a moccasin style shoe. Any shoes that I've ever seen have been made out of veg-tan leather. Like, I'm sorry, handmade leather shoes that I have seen have always been veg-tan leather. Other like machine made in a factory somewhere, they can use all kinds of different leathers because they're you know, assembling layers, and maybe the thin leather is just like the external layer, but for everything else, pretty much universally I would see veg-tan leather used for that. But I also haven't made shoes, so you know, don't take that as necessarily the words of an expert. You might just have to experiment a little bit. People have lots of good anime recommendations here. Okay, I've got all my straps laid out. This is all of them. And they're hanging off the table. They almost reached the floor. They're so long. So I'm going to prepare. I need my apron so that I don't spill dye all over myself, because I do that. And I need gloves. The dye is non-toxic. I just don't want it to stain my hands. So we are going to be using Bison Brown, which is one of the darker colors. It's the Tandy, the EcoFlow Bison Brown. So let me grab my apron too, and then I've got some applicators. All right. this is the last thing I need. These are wool daubers. These are made out of sheep's wool, which holds the liquid without absorbing it, which is really nice. And so for the dyeing process, that means that it's a good vehicle because it doesn't soak it up. Ooh, my nose is itchy. Okay. I'm just gonna shake this a little bit. Potion Seller is asking, what am I planning to do about the patches on the jacket? Ooh, my itchy nose. I actually already bought some. I found some on Amazon. They were actually pretty decent quality. The ones that I bought, the last two, the ones that are still on there look kind of crappy, but I found some that look good. So we'll see if those come in looking as good as they did on the internet. Yes, Indy Hannah Jones is saying that they always assumed that leather was dyed by submerging pieces like you would with fabric, but not painting it on like a wood stain. It is more like a wood stain, or like a stain in general, I guess is what you would say. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Now what I'm gonna do is I have my dauber, I have the bottle. The bottle is actually open. Rather than taking off the entire top piece, I like cut a hole in it and then another one for ventilation. And so there's like a tiny spout in it now as opposed to just the entire thing being open. So that's, you know, a matter of preference. I also could open the whole thing and then dip it, but we'll see. You know what, maybe I should dip it with how much I have to dye today. Alright, I take it back. I'm taking this whole top off. I'm taking the top off, guys. Getting raunchy here on the leather stream today. This is like a thin foil kind of stuff. So yeah, usually what I'll do is just cut a tiny spout and it's somewhat less messy that way. But not today. Today we're using a ton of this stuff probably. And I already shook it some. So I'm gonna walk probably out of view of the camera and I'm gonna start at that end and do all of those sides and then work my way back over this way and be working on camera. So bear with me for a minute while I disappear. Now I have a different plan for the edges, so I'm not worried about picking up these pieces and like making sure that all of the edges are totally dyed. I have some edge coat that I will use separately and I'll explain that whole process as we go. But for right now, I'm just working on the tops of the pieces. Okay, I guess I'm barely in view, or my hand is barely in view. When I'm getting to these middle sections, I'm trying to like feather it out a little bit, which is not super successful because this is pretty saturated, but you can apply multiple coats of this dye, but if you're applying it in the same spot, you can kind of end up creating like hard edges that you don't want. Oops, that was a lot. It's a lot of dye. So I'm trying to avoid making hard edges, but I might just not really be able to do that effectively. And I might go over these with a second coat. I'm thinking already that I might want a second coat because it does continue to absorb color up to a certain point where you can hit it more than once and have it be a little bit darker. There we go, that's helping. It's a little bit more effective for the not having like a hard line where the color stops because it's going to be soaking in while I make my way down this assembly line. And I just don't want it to be like a really hard edge where I stopped putting the color on and now there's like a line. at least be on the side. You can see my arm a little bit more. Alright, I'm not in a position where I can actively see the chat, so if you guys have any questions about what's going on screen at this moment, I will get to them in a minute. Or maybe someone who is a little bit more versed in leathercraft can answer questions for you. Some thin spots. So yeah, I am gonna get these at least twice because I want them to be pretty dark. The harness that I bought is a really nice solid dark color, and so I want to aim for that. And this is a nice dye color to go with, but I think that with this leather being as like, I don't know, thin and weird. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like, it's much less absorbent than other veg tan leather hides that I've used in general, like almost all of them. Like this is some of the least absorbent leather that I've ever used. So with that in mind, it just might need more dye. But I think that with a couple of coats I can get it right about where I want. Alright, coming back over to check in on comments. Everyone's commenting on my raunchy stream remarks. Well, that's fine. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep working my way down these straps. I'm trying to like overlap my coats a little bit, again, so that I don't have hard lines of like where has received multiple coats. I think by the end of this, when it's gonna get as dark as I can make it, and so hopefully there won't be any visible lines or anything like that. Oh, Tiny Bear, I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling anxious. I'm glad that you're here with us. If anybody has any words of encouragement for Tiny Bear, now would be a good time. Yeah, we're just glad to have you here and have a chill time. Flannel Maniac and Tom Dendo, thank you for following, as well as Friend Beast. Got a little small influx there. Oh no! Kitten says that Jared just told everyone it's our 3-year anniversary. It is my husband. It's our 3-year anniversary of marriage, and everyone is coming to say happy anniversary. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, everyone. Nice to have you here. Welcome to my leather crafting stream where I'm making my nerd harness. Thank you guys for the anniversary wishes. It's been a wonderful 3 years. Jared's a good dude. It's good to be married too. That's so sweet of him. I'm so happy that he's gonna get rewarded for that, guys. Don't worry. Let's see. Dark Ninja, Blue Yoshi Gamer, Canada Nicholas, Monkoloco? I can't. Monkoloco, yeah. I'm a little bit far away from my screen right now. Thank you all for following. Nice to have new followers. I hope you guys like cosplay leather crafting streams, because that's all I do on Twitch for the most part. Yes, it is my anniversary, for real. We've been 3 years married. Wonderful marriage. Wonderful years of marriage to this nerd of mine. And he's been always extremely accommodating. He lets me dress him up as all kinds of fictional characters. He's the one who got me into Twitch streaming. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be doing much of any of this if it wasn't for Jared. I ended up putting too much dye on this one particular strap because I just had like a ton on my little dauber, so now I'm just trying to brush it all the way out. I'm ending up with one super dark one, but I'll come back here onto the screen. Dusk Driver, Ninja95. Thank you guys both for following. Thank you for all of the sweet comments and the adorable emotes that Jared's subscribers are bringing us here today. That was a shitload too. I think I just need to commit to going all the way up the strap and getting a ton of dye on it. I really like leather dyes instead of paints because then you end up with this like really nice like modeling almost of this texture that because the leather absorbs it kind of with just enough inconsistency to create some really beautiful patterns. Yeah. Versus if you're using a paint, it's just opaque and it's like coating the surface, and so you lose the natural characteristics of the leather, which might have like stretch marks or scars or just like different patches of areas that are more saturated or more easy to saturate with dye. And I really like those features. Those are all reasons that I use leather to begin with and why I prefer it over other materials, is that it has like a really nice natural quality to it. I know I'm missing new follows. Sorry guys, I'm like in the midst of dirty work over here. So I guess Jared is also currently streaming. He would. Alright, let me come back over and read things. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Alright, we've got Sifus, No Life, Dimly Sight, Gamer Jelly Master, Lennon Antelope, Svedric, Deathcore Seth, Atheist Kodan, Dusk Driver. I think I already said that one. Thank you all for the follows. That's so much. Eternal Astra's asking, do I do one side or both? I'm only going to do one side, and the reason for that is that I'm wearing light colored clothing underneath this. And if you add dye to the bottom part of these straps, it will rub off onto whatever clothing I'm wearing underneath the harness. And so I don't want my pretty white Hanji jeggings and my my like light colored shirt to be stained from the dye, and so I'm only putting it on the front and not the back. I'm also going to seal it, so hopefully that won't happen at all. But it's just an extra precaution. Kingdom Fantasy, thank you for also following. Yeah. Svedrick, I'm glad that you can join us here. Saying this is their first stream to be here with us at our streams. Leather streams. Alright, so I mentioned that I wanted to do more than one coat, and since I've already got these like laid out pretty nicely, I'm just gonna go back and darken up the top areas that have now been like blended into the middle sections. And I'm really just gonna keep putting dye on anything that I think is not dark enough yet. Because a lot of these just got one quick pass. And I want them to be really saturated as much as possible. I also have an antiquing gel that I could use on these, but that's gonna be even more color to do, so we'll try to keep it to just the dye if we can. Alright, and I'm gonna go kind of into this corner again. Sorry that I'm like off camera, I'll keep talking so that you know that I haven't abandoned you all. Oh, and then I immediately go quiet. Okay, well, I can spend this time talking about my love for Hanji Zoe. My favorite Attack on Titan character ever. I feel like she's really misinterpreted by a large part of the fandom who see her as this, like, crazy person who's always doing random funny things, because that's, like, really, really not who she is in the manga at all. Like, she's actually a very serious character most of the time, and then you see these, like, hints of madness that are coming out where she's like really manic and over the top. But she's very like serious in her intent, which is to, you know, save humanity, and that she has ideas that no one else has, and that she wants to try to like study and understand the enemy in a way that no one else has ever really like thought of before. And so that's why she's obsessed with the Titans. It's not that she like truly loves them at face value. Like when people write her as like having some kind of Titan fetish, I just like, it makes me so mad because that's not at all what's happening. What's happening is that she's like this brilliant creative person that has learned to see things from a different perspective. And I feel like it's almost like she's suffered so much and she's seen so many people die that this is like kind of her way of compartmentalizing her emotions and finding something else to focus on aside from like grief and sadness and frustration that must just be like overwhelming when you're a veteran member of the Survey Corps. And yeah, so she channels her energy into something productive instead, and it's like, it's very nuanced and it's very like I don't know, interesting to me. And I hate it when people are just like, oh, she loves Titans, she's silly. I'm just like, you don't, that's not what's, all right. So Aranther says, Heidi confirmed for fanfic reader. Oh my gosh, yes, I will never deny that. I have been reading and writing fanfiction since the days of my youth. All right, so these are pretty much all brown where you can see, and they are still colorless or like raw, untouched leather. Right about where the screen cuts off. So now I'm going to tug them all up fresh leather onto the table. Anyway, I have a lot of feelings about Hanji. Yeah, it's kind of hinted at that she doesn't get a lot of respect either within the Survey Corps or by other branches of the military. She's kind of has a couple moments where people are like kind of making fun of her for being so different, but she's like, she just doesn't give a crap at all. She's just like, whatever. See ya. And she just does things her way. And I really admire that about her. Alright, cool. So that's all of our new exposed leather that now I get to do the exact same thing. I guess I'm about halfway through. Heidi Rant. Svedrick is asking what got me into leatherwork. I started doing leatherwork when I was an intern at God Save the Queen Fashions, which is a studio in Atlanta, Georgia, where they make costumes for people, usually for cosplay, but also for, now she's doing like film and television. She wasn't doing as much of that when I first was there. But anyway, I was an intern there, and so she, Kathy, the woman who runs God Save the Queen, is the one who taught me pretty much everything I knew, at least in the beginning, about leather. And that was a few years ago, and since then I've just been exploring and kind of trying new things. And now I'm leaning over my table streaming my leatherwork. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for as dark as I can on these straps. So forget what I said about feathering it. I don't think that's gonna be that much of a problem because I'll just keep applying more until any sort of lines are gone. Chessbin Cycle is asking, is God Save the Queen the same person that shares a workspace with Vulcan Props? Yes, that is the same. That is correct. Those people share a workspace. And yes, both are very, very talented individuals, but also like kind of run shops full of other people now. Oh, good night, Pinkthorn, who's heading out for the night. Thanks for stopping by and joining us. I'll see you next time. Dusk Driver says they're not into anime or cosplay, but they respect the effort that goes into it. Thank you. Thank you so much, and thanks for the good luck. Yeah, I just like making things for the most part. Like, I am an anime video game fan, and I mostly cosplay from things that I like am personally connected to. Like, obviously Attack on Titan is important to me, but I'm not necessarily like avidly involved in those communities all the time. I'm more of just like an artist. I mostly just love making art so much that I'm just like, alright, whatever, yeah, I'll cosplay from that. Which is fine, you can cosplay for whatever reasons you want. I think it's really lame when people are trying to gatekeep and say, oh, well, you're not a true fan, or you're not this or that. You don't love it as much as me. And I'm just like, well, no, I probably don't. Because if you have that kind of bad attitude about it, then who wants to hang out with you? Yeah, random question from Abby, I'm just gonna call you that for short, saying, have I ever had an old sewing machine service? They're gonna have their mom's old Singer machine service tomorrow, and I'm not sure if it's worth it. Yes, absolutely I have, and absolutely you should. For a long time, the sewing machine that I use as my main machine was literally from the 1960s. So, getting that machine serviced was wonderful. It ran super well. It's older singers are good, so you probably like as long as the machine hasn't been like, I don't know, beat up or damaged in some way. If it's just kind of like needs a general servicing in like kind of recalibrating and cleaning things out, then it's probably going to do very well and be super worth your time. Now, if the machine has like accumulated damage from over the years of like neglect or something like that, then I don't know, maybe not. But my machine was extremely sturdy and ran beautifully after having it professionally serviced. I don't use it as much anymore because I have newer machines that have a little bit more features, but for a long time I was working on a really bare bones older machine. And it helps too, because you get to learn how to do everything manually. If you don't have like all of the fancy newer foot attachments to do like really specific things, then you end up learning how to do all of those same things manually, because a lot of them can be done manually. You know, people just prefer to take it easier these days because they can. But it'll be a good basis for skills for like you're learning the fundamentals. If you learn how to do things without any sort of special feat, you're gonna end up having cleaner sewing abilities. Love Baker's Cookie says hello. Both the chat and myself, hello. Love Baker's Cookie. Alright, come around. What have we got? Simply Lissa, thank you for the follow, and also ChipX86 and Ravenhold. All of you guys, thank you for following. Oh, I think I also missed KG Studios TX, who followed kind of at almost the same time as someone else. I think I missed saying that one out loud. So thank you guys all for following and welcome. Yeah, this is much easier to do from over here. What time are we at? It's 4:40 almost. Oh, Dusk Driver's heading out. Well, thank you for stopping by. It was nice chatting with you. See you at another stream, maybe. This is taking a lot more dye from the bottle than I originally expected. So luckily I bought an additional bottle. I thought I knew I already had some, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be enough, so I just went and got another one. And I'm glad that I did. We've used most of a bottle already. So I'm just trying to let it absorb as much color as it can. I want to avoid creating any sort of like hard lines where the color stops, but otherwise I'm just trying to pack as much, or like trying to get it to absorb as much as possible. Alright, and now once again I'm going to stay off camera a little bit. I'm going to go up into this area and start kind of going over these sections and make sure that they're as dark as I can make them. So bear with me while I'm out of sight for the time being. You can chat amongst yourselves if you want, if anybody's still into that. heard the notification. I'll be back over there in a second to check it out. Sorry about that, guys. Once again, this is the Bison Brown color from Tandy's EcoFlow line of dyes. This is a non-toxic water-based dye, but I'm using gloves just so that I don't end up with dark fingers, stained fingers. Alright. Okay, Whirple Chicken. Thank you for following. That's a cute name. Sonica is also heading out. Nice to see you. See you next time, maybe. Tiny Bear saying that they'll miss Jared and I at RTX. I'm gonna be sad that I'm not going there this year too, but last year was just like a little bit weird. We felt kind of like outsiders because we're not a part of the Rooster Teeth community. And that is a very, very insular community. So probably not returning to RTX unless it were like really worth our while in terms of like, I don't know, accommodations. So yeah, it's a shame that we won't be there, but we are adding other events and stuff like that. So we're still going to be pretty active in terms of like attending other conventions. Rotisserie Children. So the last one was a chicken name, and this one's Rotisserie Children, which is a little bit morbid, but I love it. Thank you for your dark humor in our chat today, in our stream. Alright, we're just getting there. I'm getting down to the bottom of this bottle too. That's okay. Wilderox is asking, do I think that I might start producing my own cosplay products to sell? I don't have any plans on doing that. If you're mass producing anything, it quickly becomes miserable. I used to run an Etsy shop, and that was like my job for a while. This was like several years ago. It wasn't like extremely lucrative, but it was definitely like worth the time that I was putting in. It was about the equivalent of like a part-time job. And I found that I was so miserable making the same thing over and over again that it eventually just became like almost not worth it. So as an artist, that is incredibly stifling to be stuck in a pattern of only making one thing, especially when it's something complicated. And that's not what I ever want to do for myself. So I currently have a cosplay print store where I sell prints. I think I already put more dye on these, but whatever. We're just loading it on now. And I'll buff these out too before we seal them or whatever. So with that said, I probably won't ever have like a cosplay product store where I am constantly producing items, because that would almost defeat the purpose of being a self-employed artist. But you know, I might do like one-off products. I thought about that because I have a store where I can sell my prints, and you know, I have the ability to put up cosplay items in there, and I have like a couple things, but they're not things that I have to personally mass produce, and that's the difference. Oops, I'm dropping all kinds of stuff, like my already broken ruler. Oh, thank you, Wilderox. That's kind of you. You Love Lucy just made it here. About to start her crafting for the evening. Avi's asking if it's hard to get the dye even. Well, it kind of absorbs in weird ways sometimes, so I'm gonna let this sit for a while. I've got it to be, it's like relatively even. It always is gonna have like a slightly kind of textured surface and not look like really, really super consistent, but that's what I want. That's why I was dyeing leather and not painting it. Oh, Bermaxian just finished their stream to see that we're starting early, and yeah, we started really early today because I was so stoked. Yes, you can airbrush the dye at KG Studios. I just don't have that kind of setup for right here, especially for streaming. So yeah, I'm just using the daubers, and there's really no need to do it another way. But airbrushing does work, and I think it's more efficient use of the dye because you don't like lose as much being absorbed by the dauber or whatever else. Alright. It's 4:45. We're still like 2 hours before what my original start time was supposed to be. We've been going strong for a while. Let's see, at 5 o'clock I'll be going for 2 hours, I think, because I started at like... I think I started around 3. Alright. Well, this is where we're at with these for right now. They need to dry before I can continue handling them. Oh, wait. There's one more thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dye a test strip. So I'm gonna have this like separate strip right here that only exists to be experimented with, and so that way I'm not cutting into the leather that I know that I need for my harnesses. Wilderox asking if my cat Aries ever helps me in my crafting room. Oh, definitely. He'll come down here periodically. I haven't seen him today. Well, I mean, I've seen him today, but not in here. He kind of has his own agenda when it comes to where and when he wants to nap in the house. But he does come and visit me pretty frequently. He likes to bounce between Jared's and my workspaces and make sure that at least one of us is paying attention to him as much as possible. Oop. All right. Here we go. So there is my test strip that now has dye on it as well and is going to hang out. And these pretty much just need to like chill for a bit. They're going to be absorbing the color, and then I'll buff it out. So I can't really continue handling them at this moment. They do become dry to the touch very quickly, but at the same time, it's not like fully absorbed yet. So I might do a couple different things with this test strip. I might test doing an antique gel, although the test strip for some reason looks a lot darker than the other ones that I was trying to dye. You know, I might let the leather dry for a while and then, or just absorb and set up for a while and then see if adding more at that point would make it any darker. But otherwise, I think I'm going to take a break for now. You know, I do have a normal 7 p.m. stream that I'm still planning on doing, or at least starting again at 7 p.m. So maybe now would be a really good opportunity for me to chill out for a while, eat some dinner, and then be ready for a 7 p.m. stream. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Thank you guys for hanging out with me so far, because I appreciate that. We've gotten a lot of work done today. But I think I'm going to take a break, call it quits, and then start up again at 7. So that gives us 2 hours of chill time before more leather work commences. Chip says I should guest star on Jared's stream. Well, I'll go like interrupt him or something. Kitten, yeah, I still want to stream at 7 because some people, I'm sure there's at least someone out there who's like, oh, I better be ready at 7. I don't know. I know that some people plan this into their day. I don't want to assume that it's that important to everyone, but if someone was expecting me to start at 7, then I feel like I should at least still be streaming at 7 so that I didn't totally miss it. Anyway, Era Solar, thank you for the follow. Alright, see you guys in about 2 hours if you want to come back. It'll be right around 7 p.m. We'll be starting up again, and I'll continue from this point. Rotisserie Children is asking, what's your husband's stream? His name is Pro Jared, and if someone wants to pop a link into the chat, that'd be awesome. Oh, sorry that you love Lucy. I know you just showed up. Okay. Sorry about that. I know I'm doing things off of schedule, but anyway, I'm going to be working on this a lot for the next week or two, couple weeks. Rotisserie Children, I feel like Jared is really going to get a kick out of your screen name because he's not fond of children. But anyway, I will see you guys around 7 p.m. and start up again. And until then, I'm just going to let the leather chill and absorb, and we'll see you guys later. So thanks for joining me. Bye!